Most people don't like bugs, but they do like butterflies. And so I said, if I want to convince people to start caring about the environment, start caring about the world, maybe I can start with learning about butterflies and getting people to care about those things. All right, great. Thank you. That was so nice of you to have me here. So glad that everyone could come on this cold, wet day, in the words of Dr. Seuss. But yeah, today we're going to talk about butterflies. You're not really going to be able to see too many today, but I led a butterfly walk yesterday in Miles Standish, and we saw tons. So you can, on a nicer day, if this were a nicer day, I would be able to point things out. So hopefully I can amp you up today and get you really excited for butterflies so that when Monday rolls around and it's really nice out, you guys will be ready to go and ready to roll and looking for butterflies. I love butterflies, but I didn't always love butterflies. I've always loved bugs. But the thing with butterflies that I like the most, and when I started learning about them, is just how much I feel like they can change your perspective on things. They can really connect you with nature just because they require certain habitat, they require certain types of plants, and if you want to really be good at butterfly watching, really find a lot of them, you have to start thinking like a butterfly and you have to start slowing your life down. And so that's what I really liked about it, is that you could, I feel like we're always rushing around trying to get things done, trying to accomplish things, hardly have enough time for things that we enjoy. But if you want to see a lot of butterflies, you can't really do it very quickly. You have to wait for them to come to you. And there is that kind of like release of control and kind of sitting back and enjoying yourself, and butterflies forcing you to do that. So that's why I call this the magic of butterflies, because it really is a magical experience once you start connecting with them and start learning about them. So the real reason why I started learning about butterflies is because I love insects. I always have. To me, they're like real life monsters. They're just like, you can't really see dinosaurs and sharks and monsters in your backyard, but you can go in any backyard and find a plethora of insects just waiting to be found and waiting to be identified, and it can be really exciting. However, most people don't like bugs, but they do like butterflies. And so I said, if I want to convince people to start caring about the environment, start caring about the world, maybe I can start with learning about butterflies and getting people to care about those things. Because the problem with insects, though, is that for any other animal, we ask this question, what does it do for me with insects? But for any other animal, we don't ask that. We don't ask that with sharks. What do sharks do for us? What do penguins do for us? What do polar bears do for us? What do pandas do for us? We don't ask that in order to save them. People just decide they want to save pandas, or they just decide they want to save some endangered bird species. But with insects, people always ask me, what good is it? Like, does it kill other bugs? Does it give food for something else? They have to justify their existence, right? Except for butterflies, right? Butterflies, they don't require people to justify their existence. But I think existence in general should be enough to care about something, right? This is a butterfly I found in my backyard. It's one of the skippers, and it's really small, very hard to see, and you might have missed it. But up close, I can't think of a nicer looking insect. You've got a really cute face right here, really round, giant eyes, soft, fuzzy, furry. I mean, if you could take any one of these butterflies and blow them up to be like, I don't know, like the size of us, I think people would love these. You know, just the general idea of wanting to pet something like this is so appealing. However, we have over 100 butterflies in Massachusetts that you can find, and many of them you can find just in your backyard. So if you are interested in hunting for things and looking for things, you like collecting, you like finding new things, discovering new things, fun things, butterflies are a great starting point. And that's because like hundreds, that's a pretty big number. You know, with Pokemon, there's like the initial was like 150 or more, right? And so 100, that's even less than the Pokemon you could find. So you could learn all of them and you could find all of them in 1 year. Like, this is one butterfly. It doesn't really look, a lot of people might say like, oh, that's a butterfly, that's brown. That's not that exciting, right? But butterflies range the full spectrum of colors, right? So you have brown, you have a darker kind of like grayish brown, but you also have this, which is not a monarch, but it is another orange and black butterfly that is very, very common in backyards. You have this kind of butterfly. This is called a red-spotted purple, although I really struggle to find any purple on this or red, but I guess in the eye of the beholder, right? These butterflies, very common. I've seen them even right now. You can find these. This is a pretty rare butterfly, a nice green butterfly. And then you even have these, the red banded hair streaks. The mourning cloaks are very common. The fritillaries you can have in your yard, and the pipevine swallowtails. So again, they range this full spectrum of colors that is just really, really nice. Has anyone seen one of these butterflies yet? These are called red admirals, and I think they're really, really pretty. They're flying right around now, and one of the best things that you can plant in your yard to get these to come to your yard is thistle or nettles. So a lot of these butterflies are going to feed on things that we generally consider weeds. So I want you to think about reconsidering the types of plants that you have and that you allow in your yard, because some of those plants might actually be food for butterflies. Black swallowtail, another butterfly. Who wants to get started gardening for butterflies this year? Does anyone want to start attracting? This is the easiest butterfly you can attract to your yard. Easier than a monarch. Just get some fennel or dill, grow that in your backyard or your front yard. Doesn't have to be your backyard. And you will get this butterfly. This butterfly is about the size of my hand and is really, really cool looking. It's called a black swallowtail. Yep, and this is a male because it has this yellow right here. The females will not have that. They'll be mostly all black. Eastern tail blues and American coppers. So yeah, tons of butterflies. Some of them are very typical, but many are not. This is my favorite group of butterflies called the dusky wings. And I like them mostly because they're underdogs. Like insects in general are the underdogs. I really like to kind of like rally and support things that are like less observed, less often noticed. They're a woefully understudied group of insects, and not a lot of people know things about dusky wings. Like, for instance, people don't even necessarily know how many species of dusky wing are in Massachusetts. So there could be even a brand new species of this just waiting to be discovered. And there are even butterflies, like this butterfly is actually a carnivorous butterfly. It's not going to bite people, but the caterpillar feeds on aphids. So there's nothing you could grow in your garden really to attract this butterfly. It's going to feed on an abundance of aphids, and unless you have aphids in your yard, you're probably not going to have this. But I do want to talk a little bit about the butterfly life cycle. Does anyone in the back know the butterfly life cycle? Yeah, go ahead. That is definitely true. Well, it's okay. We can talk about it later. So the butterfly life cycle, I think, is really important. So what we learn when we are children is that butterflies go through this complete metamorphosis from egg to caterpillar to pupa, or they call it the chrysalis, and to adult, right? And each of these life stages specializes on a different thing. Like caterpillars, all they do is eat, right? But then the adult stage, that's a dispersal stage. So that's a stage where they're looking to spread as far as they can go and lay eggs on different things. As an adult, I want you to really focus in on this, especially if you're thinking about gardening and promoting butterflies in and around your backyard. And the reason behind this is called a frosted elfin. This is actually a state protected species. I don't know if it's endangered or it might just be threatened. But this particular butterfly, it only flies for about 3 to 4 weeks out of the entire year. So the only time you're going to see this adult butterfly is right around now. It might actually not be flying anymore. So that is a very small period of time with which we are seeing these butterflies. And during this time, if people are looking for a plant advice, bearberry or kinnikinick, really, really good resource for spring flying butterflies. Dandelions, not so much. Bearberry, definitely. Willow, definitely. And this butterfly absolutely loves bearberry. When we move in, like to around this month, maybe a little bit later, it's going to be a caterpillar, and that caterpillar is so hard to see, and you're not going to notice it. But this caterpillar spends a lot of time on its host plant, the yellow indigo, and unless you have this host plant, so even if you were to see the adult on bearberry, if you don't have indigo, you don't have this caterpillar. And then the majority of the time, this butterfly is spending its life as a pupa, where it's going to be either on the ground or underneath the ground. So how you treat that ground around these plants is critically important for the survival of this species. So not just planting the plant that the butterflies go to, but thinking about what does this plant feed on as a caterpillar, and how will this butterfly spend most of its life out of our eyesight. It doesn't want to be found, it doesn't move. So if you're thinking about digging or tilling or removing plants or somehow treating that ground, maybe spraying that ground with a pesticide, just consider that there could be this pupa developing in that ground of a butterfly that you won't see until next April or May. So it's important to think about beyond the plants and thinking about what is happening to the ground and the environment around you. Butterflies are, again, a really cool thing about butterflies is and I'm leading a series of walks on this. We had one last month. There'll be another one next month. And what we're trying to demonstrate to people who have never really gone out butterfly watching is the phenology or the how butterflies change with the passage of time. Like if you look at this, the elfin emerge right around now, and then they'll be done by the end of the month. And then you have the hair streaks come out in the June, right? And then that will shift again in August and September. And so you can actually watch this unfold throughout the course of a summer, which is really, really fun to do. And just going out and observe it, you could go to the same location once a month and you will see different butterflies all season long. And they're going to synchronize themselves with the different blooms and the different flowers in a given area, which again can be a really magical experience. Getting to know these butterflies on that intimate level and being able to see that shift can be really, really fun. However, butterflies do need our help and they do need our attention. Butterflies have been declining around the United States for as long as we've been tracking them, right? So this is a study showing that butterflies decline almost about 1.5% every single year for about 40 years, which is kind of a lot when you think about it. But there are some very simple things you can do in and around your yard to promote them and to bring them back. We're calling the insect declines death by 1,000 cuts because there is not one single thing that is really bringing them down. But what we do notice is that the top offenders of insect declines are habitat loss and pollution. And these are two things that we have full control over in our environment, in our backyards, right? I like this quote. It says, "We may never know how many invertebrate species are at risk because endangered species documentation is biased in the favor of vertebrates." If you look at the IUCN's Red List, and that's the organization that determines endangered species, what you will notice is that even though vertebrate species make up only 5% of all animal life, they make up the bulk of all endangered species on that list. And that's not because they're the only endangered species. It's because they're the only ones we're observing. And so if we stop and think about observing butterflies, we may be able to actually notice how many are missing and how we can actually help them. Like we know about the endangered blue whales, but there's also an endangered Karner blue butterfly as well. I like this quote, and I don't know where I got it from, but the quote is, "To protect something, you need to love it. But to love something, you need to see it." So if you want to actually help butterflies, it can be really, really simple. It can just be as simple as just relaxing. Just going out and having fun and taking a walk and finding butterflies. Like I got out of my car here, and a lot of people might have just seen this as a bunch of weeds. But there's a butterfly right there. That is a nectar source for a butterfly on a given day. These are some examples of pictures that I've taken of butterflies in and around this area. So you could feasibly go to the area around you. Maybe even at this library, you could walk outside on a sunny day and find probably all of these butterflies except for the two on the left right here. These are pretty much specifically found in Miles Standish, but you could find them. It's possible. This is another rare butterfly we found in 2021, and we had never ever seen it before in Plymouth County until then. And so that's, again, you can find these, but it's possible this butterfly has existed here for decades and just no one ever stopped to look. So helping butterflies can be as simple as relaxing. So if you go outside and your partner's like, I told you to do the dishes, why aren't you mowing the lawn? We have so much to get done. You just tell them that Blake Dinius told you you're helping the butterflies. You're relaxing and you're helping the butterflies. Like, this is about how fast I walk through the woods. So again, you're gonna find more butterflies when you walk slowly than when you walk fast. I am not the most fun person to go on hikes with because I will walk incredibly slowly looking at everything. But I will notice so many more things going on along that trail than most people. Like here, looks like a typical yard, but right here, that's normally a patch of milkweed right there. And there are tons of butterflies in that patch. So the first thing you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need something to see them with, because most butterflies are not very big. Like, this butterfly is about the size of a nickel. And it doesn't look like that much right now, but if you have a pair of binoculars, all of these brilliant and wonderful, intricate patterns really pop when you have those binoculars. And you don't have to get really expensive ones. You can go, I think they can range from like $20 all the way up to like 100. Really depends on your budget. Yep.
Plus the library has some that you can rent for free.
Exactly. So yeah, library is a great resource. They have many more things than I even imagined that they have sometimes. Like, my library has like some weird like Wi-Fi hotspot things that you can borrow. Just like, I'm like, I thought they only had books, but they have so many more things, right? You have microscopes. So butterflies do not like days like this. They like sunny, warm, time between 10 and 2. So this is when you want to go butterfly hunting, which is great because you can have a giant breakfast, roll out of bed late, and go butterfly watching, and then come in before it gets dark, right? How do you identify butterflies? Simple. Most people have phones. You can just use a phone, and butterflies are fortunate enough to have an extensive photo database that you can just point a phone at and it will identify that butterfly. But I'm old-fashioned and I like books, and these are some awesome books for identifying butterflies. But there are some butterflies that you're probably just never going to be able to tell apart, and that is okay. It's all part of the experience of being able to let go and just enjoy butterflies for what they are. You don't actually have to know exactly what they are. But I'll tell you this, wherever you go, and you can go to many different locations around the county, you will find different butterflies in different areas. Can anyone tell me where they've seen butterflies around this area? Yep. Definitely. How many have you seen in your yard this year? Yep. That's what I was going for. Cool. So different places, different butterflies. Like, you get these butterflies here. You can have these butterflies in an area like this. This is almost like a boggy habitat near the woods. This is an area in Middleborough and Halifax. It's more like a farmland. But you can find these butterflies. And this butterfly is actually pretty small, but really, really cool looking up close. And then World's End and Hingham, it's one of the few locations you can see this butterfly, which is very, very cool. Very rare butterfly, the juniper hairstreak. If you are interested in learning about butterflies, but you don't know where to start, a program like this, for sure, but come on a walk with us, right? We're leading walks all the time. I have a bunch of walks in the back there if you want to join them. I led a walk yesterday. Just come with us and we'll point them out. We'll show you where they are. We'll show you what plants they're growing on. We'll show you how to identify them. And it can be a lot of fun just to spend time with people. But what you're going to learn is that butterflies are very closely associated with certain plants. This is a butterfly, and I took this picture last year. This is a butterfly called a silver-bordered fritillary. Kind of tough tongue twister to say that. But this butterfly, people told me over and over again, you're not going to find this off the Cape. And I found this in East Bridgewater. And it was a new population of this butterfly that no one has ever found before. And this butterfly, when I looked around, I said, of course it's going to be here, because there are violets growing in this field. And this field is not sprayed and not treated, and they just let the violets grow wherever they want. And so this butterfly feeds on violets as a caterpillar, and that's why this butterfly is here. So when you are thinking about planting for butterflies, I want you to think about native plants that you can grow. And you are fortunate in Norwell to have access to blue stem natives in Norwell. And I believe they're open now, and you can go and you can order and you can purchase native plants to support the butterflies in and around your property if you don't have those native plants already. Like this is a black cherry, and this is actually the caterpillar of a red-spotted purple, which feeds on that black cherry. Most people do have black cherries, so you don't really need to go around buying that. But we know that monarchs feed on milkweed, but the red admiral feeds on nettles and thistle. Fritillaries feed on violets. Fennel and dill for the black swallowtail. Aristolachia for the pipevine swallowtail. Pussy toes for the American lady. And I see a few American ladies right here in this room. Even just having alternate nectar sources like willow available for butterflies as well. And then there are some butterflies that just will never go to flowers. You'll just have to hope that they come to your yard. If you're overwhelmed with coming up with ideas on which flowers to plant, these are some flower lists, but you can just come up with your own. Like I came up with this for a scout troop, and it's just what I know the butterflies feed on, combined with some flowers that I know bloom at different times of the year. It's very, very simple. And I can send these to you, Zoe, if you want to mail them out. That way people aren't trying to jot them down and keep track of them. If you're designing a pollinator garden or a butterfly garden, I would keep that away from the woods, because a lot of times people get yard sprays done. And if you put that up against that woods and the yard spray drifts, you don't want to hit those plants with any yard spray. In addition to food, you want damp gravel or flat stones. And if you wanted to join the North American Butterfly Association, it's something that I would definitely recommend, because the field trips are free, but there's a wealth of information, a lot of knowledgeable members. It's not that expensive, $35 is not too much for a year. Thanks so much for coming, guys. Thank you.